Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into literally one of the absolute ultimate sports comeback stories heading into the 2026 World Cup, the total resurrection of the Colombian national team. We're going to break down how a team that completely missed out on the world's biggest stage just 4 short years ago has somehow rebuilt itself into a terrifying prospect for literally any opponent. If you love a good redemption arc, tactical evolution, and just raw attacking football, you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, let's dive into this. 28. I want you to just think about that number for a second. 28 matches. That is the massive, historic, unbeaten streak that completely resurrected this team. You know, failing to qualify for Qatar in 2022 wasn't just a bump in the road. It was a humbling, agonizing shock for Colombia. It literally forced a complete reset from the ground up. But from those ashes came this incredible run of form where they beat giants. We're talking Germany, Brazil, Spain, and rode that momentum all the way to the 2024 Copa America final.
All right, so here is the agenda for today. We'll hit 6 key areas. 1, the fall and the rise. 2, enter Nestor Lorenzo. 3, tactical identity and style. 4, stars and emerging talents. 5, Group K breakdown. And finally, 6, the 2026 outlook. Let's get into it.
Section 1, the fall and the rise. The heartbreak and resurrection of Los Cafeteros. Now, before we even touch the tactics, we've got to understand the immense emotional weight this team carries. You see, in Colombia, football isn't just a sport or some weekend entertainment. It is practically a social institution. It completely bridges divides and acts as a massive source of national pride. And honestly, that pride is most visible in La Mancha Amarilla, or the yellow stain. This refers to the massive, spectacular wave of passionate fans clad in yellow, blue, and red who travel the globe to support the squad. They create this deeply intimidating, joyful atmosphere wherever they go, making pretty much every major tournament feel like a home game.
Let's move to Cali and see how this builds historically. They broke through in 1990, hitting the knockouts for the first time. But then, 1994 brought profound darkness with the tragic murder of defender Andres Escobar after an own goal. Just a devastating scar on the national psyche. They rebuilt though, hitting an absolute peak in 2014 when James Rodríguez secured the Golden Boot and they pushed to the quarterfinals. But as that golden generation got older, things unraveled, leading to that massive failure to qualify for 2022. They basically hit rock bottom, which meant everything absolutely had to change.
Moving right along to Section 2, enter Nestor Lorenzo, the architect of the revival.
So, to fix a completely shattered national team, you need a serious catalyst. And Nestor Lorenzo wasn't just some outsider coming in blind. Crucially, he spent 7 years as an assistant to Jose Pekerman from 2012 to 2019. He intimately knew the culture, the federation, and the players from that golden era. When he took the reins in 2022, boom, his impact was immediate. He led them to the 2024 Copa America final, secured those massive statement wins we talked about, and, maybe his absolute masterstroke, he recalled the seemingly fading James Rodríguez, handed him the captaincy, and rebuilt the entire team's trust right around him.
Which brings us to Section 3, tactical identity and style. South American flair meets Argentine pragmatism.
So the crucial point is how Lorenzo actually sets them up on the pitch. It's a really fluid 4-2-3-1 that easily morphs into a 4-3-3. They rely heavily on this high-energy, collective pressing to force mistakes. And when they win the ball, they are lethal. They use lightning-fast vertical transitions, utilizing pacey wingers and attacking fullbacks, especially Daniel Muñoz bombing down the right, to completely overwhelm the opposition. But that Argentine pragmatism definitely shines through late in games. Lorenzo is not afraid to drop into a back 5 just to protect a lead.
However, no system is totally flawless, right? Their main tactical vulnerability lies in that exact aggression we just talked about. When Colombia pushes all those bodies forward, their defensive shape can get super compromised. If the midfield gets caught out of position, elite, technically superior European sides can really exploit those gaps. Actually, we literally saw this exact thing happen in their March 2024 friendly losses to Croatia and France. It's a high-risk, high-reward system that demands extreme discipline.
All right, Section 4, stars and emerging talents, the veterans and the vanguard.
Executing this kind of demanding system requires a very specific mix of personnel. Let's compare the two main protagonists here. On the left side, you've got the veteran 34-year-old James Rodríguez, currently with Minnesota United. He is the playmaker, the absolute spiritual leader of the squad. He might not give you a full 90 minutes every single game, but his vision, unparalleled. Then, on the right side, you have the undisputed attacking star in his absolute prime, 29-year-old Luis Díaz. Fresh off his blockbuster transfer to Bayern Munich,
Díaz brings explosive pace, goal-scoring dominance, and just raw power. He's the guy tasked with finishing whatever James creates.
But hey, the engine room needs legs, right? And that's exactly where this quote hits the nail on the head. This 25-year-old central midfielder at Benfica, Richard Ríos, was just unbelievable. Operating in a double pivot, so basically a two-man defensive shield in the midfield, alongside the ultimate defensive workhorse Jefferson Lerma, Ríos provides this high-energy, two-way presence. It's that ultimate balance that gives the attacking stars the total freedom they need to thrive.
Okay, Section 5, Group K Breakdown, the Proving Ground.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what's waiting for them in the group stage. Look at the context here. Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, ranked 6th, is the clear star-studded favorite, but Colombia, sitting at 13th, is bringing some seriously strong form. They hold a massive statistical edge over the other two, Uzbekistan sitting at 50th and making their historic debut, and DR Congo at 56th, marking their first return since way back in 1974. The math strongly favors Colombia advancing out of this group.
But wait, we absolutely cannot ignore where these games are happening. Remember La Mancha Amarilla we talked about earlier? Well, Colombia opens at the iconic Estadio Azteca in Mexico, plays at Estadio Akron in Guadalajara, and faces Portugal in Miami. Because of the massive Latin American and specifically Colombian diaspora in these exact regions, Colombia will effectively be playing with a roaring, overwhelming home crowd advantage in literally every single group stage match. That is huge.
Finally, Section 6, the 2026 outlook. How far can they go? So, synthesizing all of this, the history, the tactics, the talent, all the data points to them squarely as a dark horse. But what does that actually mean in this context? Well, they aren't just fun participants hoping for a lucky bounce. A dark horse here is a highly capable, serious contender sitting just one step below the absolute Tier 1 favorites. They have genuine quarterfinal or even semifinal potential. They are a massive threat.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer probability of it all when you look at the hard data. Based on squad quality, form, and the bracket path, the numbers are staggering. There is a greater than 90% chance they advance past the group stage. Over a 75% chance they navigate the round of 32 to reach the round of 16. And reaching the quarterfinals, which would match their historic 2014 peak, that sits at a very realistic 40 to 50%. But what if we push beyond that into the absolute best-case scenarios? Well, they have about a 20 to 25% chance to reach the semifinals and a 5 to 8% chance to shock the globe and win the entire World Cup. But, and this is a big but, achieving that ultimate dream depends entirely on key variables aligning perfectly. James Rodríguez must stay healthy. Luis Díaz has to be playing at his absolute Bayern Munich peak. And that defense, they have to maintain absolutely flawless discipline against Europe's elite.
Which leaves us with this final massive question to wrap up this explainer. Can this squad, completely reborn under Néstor Lorenzo, actually surpass the magic of that unforgettable 2014 run? Look, they've got the talent, they have the tactical flexibility, and they certainly have the crowd behind them. We will find out this summer. Thank you so much for joining me for this one. Keep a close eye on Los Cafeteros. They are going to be an absolutely thrilling ride.